if you understood, because the underdogs to have her path to power.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be joined by Winnie Kiiza, who has been Uganda's first female leader of opposition. She has been a trailblazing leader who has promoted social justice, governance, and accountability in the Ugandan politics. Moreover, she has been an ardent advocate of equal women's rights in Uganda and the whole of Africa. Thank you so much, Winnie, for joining us today. And what a delight to be sitting here in Johannesburg this morning to be having this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avani. And I'm equally delighted to be hosted by you here in Johannesburg.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, Winnie, let's get straight into the question I've been waiting to ask you. I read your story and I read a lot about you. Uh, as a young student, you were selling pancakes.
Yeah.
So, from selling pancakes as a student to becoming Uganda's first female leader of opposition, what an incredible journey. Tell us more. How did that happen? How did you decide on politics?
Well, Avani, it's a long story.
Mhm.
It may take the whole hour for me to explain, but in short or briefly,
Mm.
yes, like you have noted, my beginnings were not easy. I come from a very humble beginning, from the hills of Rwenzori, close to the Democratic Republic of Congo. I was born in 1972 to a teacher. My father was a teacher, and my mother was a community worker, but basically a home manager. And so the story of Pancakes begins when our father passes on. When our father died, and my mother broke history and maybe refused to be inherited, just like culture would have demanded, my father's family rejected her. So they left her alone with 7 children.
Mhm.
So she was under duty to bring up these 7 children single-handedly as a woman who had no job. So our mother went on to baking pancakes.
Mhm.
And so we, the children, had to begin now selling the pancakes, and we would put the money together to start paying our school fees.
Mm.
Now, for me, this taught me hard work.
Mm.
It taught me resilience.
Mm.
It taught me humility.
Mm.
Now, and it is what carried me through to going into politics, going into the office of the leader of opposition. But the most important thing that pushed me into going to politics was to see how I can become a voice of those whose voices are not heard. And that's why eventually I start challenging bad governance. I become myself championing the issues of social justice because I grew up from a society that highlighted injustice at a high level. I saw this as an injustice committed upon my mother. And I was ready to defend many more women who are going through the same. I was ready to defend many more young girls who would be exposed to the same conditions that I was being exposed to. And so that is how I found myself in politics. And in fact, I started politics at an early age. Well, real politics, mainstream politics, I started at the age of 25. I was not yet married then. I was just straight from college, and I jumped on an opportunity that came my way. So that is how I jumped into politics.
So Winnie, you have first been a district councillor.
Yeah.
Then you became a member of parliament.
Yes.
And then you went on to become the first female leader of opposition.
Yes.
Now, that's a long journey, but you did it relatively fast. Like, I was reading the chronology, and I thought this woman has just been like accomplishing one thing after another, pushing her milestones, right?
Yes.
So, was there any point when you felt like, I have finally arrived? Like, we know politics to be this male dominated space, right? Everywhere around the world, even today. So, was there a point in this journey where you felt, I have arrived in politics, I am here?
I think never at any one time have I felt that I have arrived. I still want to pursue that dream of equality. But I knew that being a young girl, I had to start small, starting from the local level as a district councillor. And I ran for 2 terms. And then after the 2 terms, our term at that time was 4 years. And so I was 8 years as a district councillor. And I was given a series of roles as a district councillor. I was a secretary for finance. I was a secretary for education. And I really want to say I'm grateful to the leadership of the council at that time for giving me those responsibilities, because they exposed me to the realities of life. As a secretary for finance, I saw how hectic it was for people to earn. I was exposed to how hard it was for people to even pay taxes. And I knew that it was not going to be an easy task for me to ensure that people pay their taxes. So I had to come up with innovative ways of how people can easily pay taxes without the district losing a lot of money in tax collection. But at the same time, to come up with a register of
I
the
read
tax.
about this. So there was a register
Yes.
with people's photos in it.
Yes, we came up with a register of all the people living in the communities, in the villages, so that the chairman of the LOC1 can help in ensuring that taxes are collected, and also to break the cartel that had been created by the public servants of fraud. Majority of them had come up with their own graduated taxes, and they would give them to people but not bring the money into the coffers of the district. So I also wanted to break this cartel, and also to know that we knew our taxpayers by name and by face. That when we are looking out for them, the chairman LOC1, the local level leader, can be in position to say, yes, this is my member of the community.
And he or she has paid taxes.
And has paid tax or not. Because even these tickets would come pre-printed to make sure that even the chairman can be able to help in identifying those who have not yet paid taxes. But, we also came up with an initiative of giving some percentage to the local leaders so that they also benefit directly from the taxes that they were collecting.
So they have an incentive.
They have an incentive to make sure that they also participate in collecting these taxes. And now for me, that helped me in remaining closer to what I loved, holding people accountable. The accountability, fighting graft. So I started it from that lower level. And then when I went into the education sector as a secretary for education, that is when I realized that our girls are not going to school. That many of the parents were preferring to take the young boys to school and leave the girls at home working with their mothers. Some of the girls would drop out of school because of the menstrual cycle problems. As girls were going into their periods, they would feel shy to get into school because this was an issue that was supposed to remain close to their hearts, and nobody should know that a girl is in her period.
It's a taboo. It's a taboo. You don't talk about.
Yes, you don't have to say I'm in periods. Nobody should even know that you are in periods, and in fact, you would be laughed at in school if people knew that you are in your periods. So many girls opted out of school during these periods. Whether it was a period for exams, the girls would choose not to go to school. And so I had to go into a campaign of normalizing menstruation. For teachers to know that menstruation was normal, for parents to know that menstruation was normal,
also
and
for the
even
behavioral
for
change.
the behavior change within the community and the schools. I really enjoyed being a local leader. But then I think because of the work that I did, the enormous work that I did with the communities, I built a network within the community. And because these positions were putting me at a district level, when you become a secretary at a district level, then you are exposed to the entire district. So it helped me to begin now my career as a member of parliament. So when I showed up, it was just super quick. That people found me worthy, that people found me acceptable, and they found me dependable. So that is how they voted for me. But it shouldn't also surprise you. Maybe it also comes as a surprise, and that's why I said I had not fully arrived, and I'm not yet fully arrived. That I was the only woman from the western part, the whole western part of Uganda, at that time in 2006, who was voted on the ticket of opposition. And it took me long. to get another sister from the opposition, because women really are shy. One, to be in politics, but then two, to be on the opposition. So for 12 years, I was the only woman who was being voted as a member of parliament, woman member of parliament on the opposition side, even when we have quotas.
You know, your story is giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because two things stood out for me. One is that, and this is a thing about leadership, right, Winnie, that when women are in positions of leadership, you could have done with, cosmetic changes.
Yeah.
But you went in for building systemic changes,
Yeah.
where you said tax collection is a problem. How do we build in a system with incentives in place, which is a win-win for everybody?
Yeah.
And the other question which I asked was, how do you grow up the hierarchy? A lot of young women in India, they ask me, we enter politics, is it going to take about 3 decades or 4 decades? Well, if you do things right, if you systematically, and if you build systems,
process by process,
yes,
yeah.
yes, then people will recognize you, they will trust you, and then your potential for creating a larger impact
Yeah.
also grows very quickly.
Mm.
But today in Uganda, what are 3 challenges, let's say, that concern you? I mean, I'm sure, like India, Uganda has many different kinds of challenges. But as a political leader, what are 3 or a few changes that concern you the most?
Of course, women's representation is still low, and that's why I tell you that I've not yet arrived. I still want to see more and more women taking on leadership. Currently, our representation at parliamentary level is at 34%. But I still see many more women shying away from politics because the adverse violence online and offline that women experience, the monetization of elections that women experience, and majority of them are not into the money economy, that when elections become so commercial, that many of them will not find it easy to participate in elections. And so I'm still concerned that many more women are not into leadership.
I remember
It concerns me.
I remember when I was reading about gender representation in politics as part of my Oxford curriculum,
Yeah.
Uganda was given as an example.
Yeah.
Because Uganda, as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is actually one of the first countries in the world that reserved seats for women in the parliament.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And which is why it's heartening, and I'm with you, that 34% still feels like a long way to go. And
Yes.
I am, all for it.
Yes.
In India, the female representation in politics is so low that for decades we've been pushing for women reservation in parliament. And did you know that in India, we now have a law passed which says that seats will be reserved for women in parliament. Yet the government has found a way not to implement it. So for the voters, there is a law passed, but it is still not in effect.
It is not in effect.
So, of course, we are going to push for it. But my question to you is, to any of the naysayers who still think, why do you need reservation for women in politics? How has the Ugandan example worked? Would you say that reservation was a key reason why many more women could take on key roles in politics?
Yes, I can confidently and comfortably say I want to thank the women who came before us and went into the Constituent Assembly and advocated for gender parity, women's representation at that time, quotas. While now, presently, we are now talking about parity. But at that time, the issue of parity was something that we were not even thinking about. But women like Winnie Kiiza, Miriam Atembe, the Honorable Joyce Mpanga, the Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, may her soul rest in peace, fought hard to make sure that there is that quota. And many of them, I think, had attended the Beijing platform. They attended that summit and came up fired to advocate for these changes. And so in the 1995 Constitution, they put an article that is talking about women's representation. And this has done a miracle for the women's participation in politics. Before then, women's presence in parliament and also at levels where decisions are made was minimal. So I would like to encourage the Indian government to hasten making this a reality for the women in India so that they can equally sit at tables where decisions are made. Surprisingly, women are always the majority in many of our nations, but we are subdued by the minority. I can't comprehend. The only thing is that India, just like my country, is heavily rooted into culture. And so these cultural biases and stereotypes still control the narrative in respect of women's representation. But we need our cultural leaders to know, and our elders in our communities to know, that when you empower women, nations grow. That an empowered woman empowers millions and causes impact in the societies where they come from. And putting women at centers where decisions are made is creating a balance for humanity. It is human, it is just, it is fair. So if the Indian government, the Indian leadership can be fair, can be human, can be just, let them pass the law and ensure that it is put into effect. To us, there was a clause that was making it effective. That as soon as this law is signed,
it has to be
put into effect. And so that clause helped us to immediately implement. And when it was passed, structures were put in place to ensure that it is actualized. And actually, after we passed the law on women's representation, there was also an Equal Opportunities Commission that was established to ensure that they hold government accountable for ensuring that equity, fairness, and justice is streamlined within all the systems of government. Yes, I will not say that we are there yet. And that's why some of us are not yet comfortable. We are still struggling to make sure that we get to where we want to go. You can't have the majority being looked at as the minority. And so the issue that perturbs me most, that I wake up every morning thinking about, is how are we going to have many more women in positions of influence across the globe. And India is one of those areas where I would feel comfortable when I hear that sisters are equally participating in decision making.
But there are two questions, Winnie, that skeptics often ask, and allow me to put those to you. One is that even if you reserve seats for women in parliament, it might just be a few elite women who might get into positions of power. Is that going to change, for example, the general gender violence that women are suffering? Right? Is the number of, women facing gender violence going to decrease if you put a few women in power? Is one question. And the other question is, like in India, we are a very diverse community. I'm sure that's the case in Uganda too. So one of the concerns and one of the reasons why this implementation of women reservation has been put on hold is to say we want intersectionality, and we want all women of all communities to be represented, so that just the upper caste, women of the preferred religion or a majority religion do not get all the seats, right? So how do we build in that intersectionality? And I think it's a well-motivated, well-intentioned argument, except if by using that, you don't give any women any reservation, then that belies the purpose, right? So did these arguments or questions come to you when you were pushing for women reservation? And what's been your experience in Uganda like on this one?
Now, in Uganda, maybe I will start with the last question.
Sure.
The issue of representation for everyone, ensuring that everyone is on board. We had persons with a disability. And actually, we even came up with the Persons with a Disability Act to make sure that the persons with a disability are equally represented in Parliament. And they have their own elections. There are 5 members of the persons with a disability that are voted in Parliament. And the law is clear that at least one of them should be a woman. But doesn't matter if all of them are women.
Right.
So at least the woman is represented amongst the persons with the disability to bring in the inclusivity concerns. The young people are equally represented. 5 young people are voted amongst the young people, and the election is done by the young people themselves.
Okay.
So they have 5 slots, and the issue is that among the 5 slots, one should be a woman. But sometimes there have been 2. We have not experienced a situation where there are 3, but at least there is a situation where one woman ran with the men and she won, and the women were 2.
Right.
Actually, twice now. Now, at least that brings in the other aspects of the people to be represented. Now, in Uganda, we have a decentralization program. Now, the decentralization program takes us into now the different communities managing their own affairs, to the extent that if they are to say we want women, every district will bring in a woman. And the dynamics of culture and tradition will automatically be catered for, because every district has a different way it handles its own cultural dynamics.
Right.
And those dynamics are seen within the people that represent them. So if each local government brings in a woman, the woman carries along the local dynamics of that region.
Right to the parliament.
Right to the parliament. So these aspects will always automatically be talked about. And so the system of governance to us sorts that issue, though I know that there are still some other ethnicities that feel that they are not yet represented.
And there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, and there will always be room for improvement. But their representation then happens at their local level, because the way we stay in our communities, it's like each ethnicity is staying in a certain community. Each ethnicity is staying in a certain community. And at that level, they are represented at LOC1. And the women, by law, are supposed to be part of that leadership. So when we talk about leadership, it is not necessarily at the top. Even at the low level, we want it. We also have the Women Council Act. And now at this level, this was looked at, the Women Council brings on board another leadership, another aspect of leaders for only the women. The Youth Council, has a different leadership for the young people. The Women Council has a different leadership for the women.
And at all levels.
And at all levels, from the LOC1 up to national. There is, and women are involved in that. So this becomes a nursery bed for grooming women. They are nurtured within those levels from LOC1 up to the national. So it makes sense when this law is implemented and it reaches down to the common person, and every woman at the lower level is participating, either as a leader or an agent or a voter, and they know they are voting for their fellow women. So the law helps us to ensure that women, at least at all stages of leadership, are
adequately represented.
And within their diversity.
Right.
Because even at those levels, persons with a disability are equally represented. The young people are equally represented. Then we have now again brought on board the elderly. It is a new amendment that was made to our constitution to also provide for the older persons.
Right.
Because they were also saying you are missing out the voice of reason.
Yes, if you are having young people.
Yes, if you are having young people, then let's create the balance. And that is why some of us are into intergenerational co-leadership. Mentoring the young people and the old ones mentoring the young ones. So even the older persons, there is now the Older Persons Act.
Right.
That is bringing also the older persons into spaces of influence. And so we have this diverse kind of legislature where our people are. However, that one has not taken away the elitist approach that people see in the women that come up for leadership. Now answering the first question that you asked. Many times it is only women that are either exposed to networks or that have substantial amounts of money that can access positions of leadership. And they may not necessarily be the best leaders anyway.
Right.
They may not necessarily be the women that are bothered about women issues.
Or that take everybody together.
Or that take everybody and want to carry everyone along. Right. It has happened and it will continue to happen. But we want to answer to at least address one injustice at a time. One is the injustice of representation. Are women represented? Yes. Are they doing the right thing? Then there comes in the issue of mentorship. Have we given them the right attitude towards work? Have we prepared them for the work that they are going to do? Many of the women who get into these spaces, as you may know, we are involved in cultural norms and values. Many of our cultures and traditions do not allow women to socialize. And so they may not have had the best orientation in terms of leadership. But because they had maybe what it takes to convince people, they had the means to enable them mobilize and garner support around them, they will find themselves into leadership. So it is incumbent upon us who have the right attitude towards what we want to see in a woman leader to hold their hands.
In
and
fact,
put these attitudes into them, try to mentor them, try to nurture them, and let them understand the women's agenda. Because it is this agenda that keeps some of us going.
In India, we had brought in a legislation that for the first time had allowed women sarpanch leaders. Sarpanch is like a village councillor, if you will. So for the first time, thanks to this legislation, a lot of women councillors came forth. But then, in effect, it was found, and this was early on when the law had come in, that their husbands would rule, or take all the governing decisions in their place. So they were, these husband sarpanch, right? But over time, as women got more mentoring and grooming and opportunities, they started taking their own decisions. So I think it's also incumbent upon us to ask that it's not like all male leaders are good. It's not like all male leaders are thinking about everybody. So we also have to be cognizant not to put this extra burden on the shoulders of women and say that if you're a woman who is in position of power, then you have to somehow over justify, what you're doing. I think that could also then...
And I think that is something that society has built around women, that we demand too much from the women. The mistakes that men are committing, we don't want to see them because they are men. When a woman makes the same mistake,
it's highlighted.
It's magnified as if she has committed something that is really a taboo. We need to understand that women are equally human.
Yes.
They also make mistakes. But these mistakes are equally being committed by men. So it is the reason why even when we are telling women, do this, don't do this, the men should equally be told.
Right.
And that is why we should learn to also carry the men along.
Yes.
To let them understand that leadership is not a one-man show, but that together we build nations.
Yes.
Both men and women. And that societies that have leaders who think alike grow. And that populations that are led by people who are bothered by what bothers their people develop. And there will be service delivery. The other issue that bothers me back home is that even when we have created these quotas, we still look at women as they will call them the weaker sex. And so we have put this kind of seats to appease them, let them come into
so
leadership.
Giving them cosmetic power,
we are
not
giving
real
them
power.
Cosmetic power and not real power, to the extent that even when they are into ministerial positions, you see them at cabinet level, and yes, the numbers are growing every other day, because like now currently we are at 45% representation at cabinet level. When you add the ministers and the state ministers, we are at 45%. And we are saying, yes, we are growing. The speaker is a woman. The vice president is a woman. The prime minister is a woman. And women are in very powerful positions. And to us, we say we are making strides. But do they have the real power? That makes everybody believe that, yes, there is a woman in power, and yes, there is a woman with responsibility. They are giving them cosmetic power, but they draw the power and it goes back to the pockets of the few men who will be making the decisions, and then the women will just be like front runners and flag bearers for the women's
just the faces.
Yes, just the faces for the women's movement. But we have to understand that men at some points also feel vulnerable. And sometimes they are challenged by the women power. So we need to let the men equally accept that it is human, that it is fair, it is just to coexist in positions of influence with the sisters. and give them the opportunity to lead. Give them the space and the needed support. Just like you have given the men the space and the required
For
support
such a long time.
For such a long time, they need to let us understand that we also need that space. And the issue that I was talking about of saying women are now coming on board and they are coming for affirmative action somehow has also broken women back home because the area they cover is too big. For me, I was a member of parliament for a district.
Right.
That district had 5 constituencies. So in each constituency, there was a man. And he had this small area to himself. While for me, I was running a constituency that had 43 sub-counties. But there was a male counterpart who had just 3 sub-counties, and we were both MPs, paid in the same way, facilitated in the same way because we come from the same district. And for me, I'm answerable to all the 43 sub-counties. While for him,
3.
is at 3. And they look at me as a weaker person. How would you subject a weaker person to a bigger constituency and the one you think is strong
Has 3.
has a smaller constituency? So amongst the two of us, who is weaker and who is strong that you are now supporting? So we now are advocating for the parity issue, that if it is a district, let's
give everybody equally.
Give equal opportunities for all, maybe one woman and one man, so that all of us are answerable to the same constituency, to the same people, and are facing the same challenges. Because, of course, servicing that constituency becomes so tedious for a woman. Remember, society has not taken away the caregiving roles
to the women.
To the women that they have. And so it becomes a challenging issue. And you find that many more women break down. Many more women don't return back to parliament because the work is just too much. And of course, the burdens placed upon them by society makes it also so hard for them to thrive within this space. But they are trying. And I would imagine the women in India, the ones I have interacted with, oh my God, amazing women. So hardworking women, so resilient. I just want to pray that the government gives them a chance to exhibit and express this leadership at higher levels. Hopefully, the law will be now
implemented super soon.
Yeah, will be
Thank
implemented.
Thank you for saying that.
Put into effect.
But Winnie, I have to ask you this question. After reaching this place of power, which is the first female leader of opposition, you were in that position, my understanding is, for 4 years.
I was there for 2.5 years.
Right. And then after 2 years, so 2018, you became the leader of opposition. In 2020,
Yes.
you said that a leader should not be in power for a very long period of time. And you stepped down from that position. Now, a lot of people welcomed that move. A lot of people said this was because of internal politics. It wasn't about principle. I really want to ask you and understand that once you get to that place, what made you step down? And also, and this is important to me, Winnie, how did you make that decision? There are many young people listening to us across the world. And when you are at those key crossroads in life, when everything that you worked for and you've reached there, and now you think, I want to give up, or step down and take on a different route or a role, how did you make that decision or that choice?
Well, the choice was informed by what I had put into my mind. First, when I was running as a leader, I wanted to question so many things. And I indeed continued to question so many things. One of the things I was questioning was leaders who overstay in power. When President Museveni became the president in 1986, in his inaugural speech, he said the problem of Africa is not poverty, is not anything, but rather leaders who overstay in power. And at that time, I think he was referring to his counterparts in the Democratic Republic of Congo and other leaders that had overstayed in power.
Right. He wasn't looking inside.
Yes,
The old-
and so he said, I come here to champion a cause of transfer of power.
Mm,
And indeed, our Constitution of 1995 spoke to the fact that our past was a bad one, a past of confusion, a past of bloodshed, and that we want to bring in a constitution that will see power changing from one hand to another without causing bloodshed. And I think I believed him. He said, yes, I think we have gotten a leader who believes in transfer of power. And I equally put that into my system, that I think when you get into a space, do what you can and leave it when you have made your mark, when you're still loved, so that possibly you can help others to even do it better than you have done it. And that is why when I went into the district as a councillor, I served 2 terms. By the way, like I said at the beginning, I went into Castle, I was not married. The biggest question that was being asked of me was, how can a tiny unmarried girl represent responsible women? Told them, but look at me. The Constitution allows me, because our age of consent is 18, I'm supposed to be someone's wife. But as you know, our culture does not allow me to reach out to a man and say, I love you. Even when I love them, I can't reach out to them and marry them. So it became so, so funny at that time. But I can tell you that when they trusted me with leadership, the fact changed. The person who took up from me was equally a young girl and unmarried. And they believed her because I had built a system where they started believing that even young girls can. Now, when I came to Parliament and I chose not to run, now coming to your question, I knew that it was crucial for us to build a mass of other young women with new ideas, but also to be brought on the front line for leadership. I had reached the helm of leadership at opposition level.
and that's what you're focusing on now?
Yes. As a leader of opposition, I was at the highest in as far as parliamentary leadership is concerned.
Right.
Maybe at the level of prime minister in parliament. And I was like, at least I know something. I can do something. Let me hold a young sister's hand and introduce her to leadership so that together we can speak about the issues that concern our people. And so I was mentoring young people for those 15 years I was in parliament. And in fact, I also got amused when I had people saying, no, it's because of internal wrangles. All political parties have internal wrangles. But I can also tell you that I had never went through unopposed. Every time I contested, I had challengers. And I can say that those connotations of, no, she's just running away from internal challenges were from those that I had time and again been contesting with. Maybe they thought if I came, they would have now a chance of contesting with me and they win, but they wouldn't have that chance because for me, I knew that you need to come, nurture, mentor, and you hold the hands of the people you have been nurturing and mentoring. For what purpose would I be mentoring others if I wouldn't give them a chance to lead? And in fact, those who thought I was running away from internal pressure got defeated when I held the hands of one young lady and I campaigned for her and she won the election. Because the girl I campaigned for is the one who won the election. So if it was really that people ceased to believe in me, people never trusted me anymore, that lady wouldn't have won the election.
But this is a remarkable story.
Yes.
Because I don't think it's every day that you sit with somebody who has been at the top positions of power and then, listen to the soul's calling and believing that transfer of power is important. And then not just stopping there, but actually mentoring young women,
Yes.
campaigning for them and ensuring that now they are in places of power. So this is great. Hats off to you, Winnie.
Because the girl who won the election when I left as councillor was one that I was mentoring. So for me, I was on purpose. And that is why even later, when many people told me, now Winnie, what are you not missing parliament? I said, no, I'm doing what I love because my my calling was to help as many more women to get into positions of influence and to get there so that all of us can taste power.
So would it be right to say that you were a queen and now you're a queen maker?
Do I call it that way? I love just being a sister who holds each other's hand. Yes. So I love mentoring. I love talking to sisters, and I love to see women get into positions of influence. When I see a woman flying, yes, I can now feel that arrivalism. I say, yes, we have arrived.
Yes.
And it is not only in politics, even the ones that are in civil society that are rocking it, I feel great. Those in corporate organizations that are working hard, I just feel that is part of us.
We know that there are a lot of Indians in Uganda. There's a big Indian diaspora. And of course, there was a little bit of troubled history.
Yeah.
But now we have excellent relationships. So do you want to talk about a little bit about the Indian diaspora in Uganda?
Yes, there is a heavy presence of the Indian diaspora in Uganda, and they are a beautiful lot. I have friends amongst them. They have not participated so seriously into politics. Majority of them are in business. They are into the hotel industry. They are into pharmaceuticals. And they are into, business. They are doing business. Majority of them are into hardware. So, there is a lot of construction happening in Uganda, right? And so majority of them are into the construction industry. They are into the hotel industry, then the pharmaceuticals. A few of them are into farming, but they are doing great. And I can see that the environment is currently good for them. We can taste Indian cuisine, and we are perfect with that. We have also started putting on the Indian wear. It is common in Uganda, though we blend it with our own tradition of the gomesi, but using the Indian fabric. And yes, they are a good community. Yeah, we had one Indian member of parliament, Sanjay Tana. He served 3 terms, I think. Yeah, there were 3 terms, and he left. Yes, they are supportive. They are a good community.
When I reached out to you, Winnie, for this conversation, I was just thinking how maybe your decision to say yes or no to come and, sit down with me to talk would partially, at least to some extent, be influenced by what you've seen of Indians in Uganda.
Yes.
Right. And I feel like how our everyday lives are shaped by what we have seen. And maybe today you agreeing to sit down for this conversation is influenced by some great perceptions and work that Indians have done in Uganda, who I don't know, they don't know me, right?
They don't know you, but I know them. Majority of them are my friends. Some of them we have dealt in businesses together. Some of them I am their client. I buy stuff from them. I have gone to their homes and I have tasted your beautiful cuisine in the homes of the Indians. They are a series of Indian restaurants and they are super good. Good chefs. You reach an Indian restaurant, you will have the best.
So what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Chicken biryani.
Chicken biryani.
Yeah, chicken biryani.
Do you get them easily in Uganda?
Yes, you get it easily in Uganda. Actually, even our local restaurants have now started putting it together, the chicken biryani. They have gone for the Indian cuisine to the extent that if you even reach our hotels and you ask for an Indian cuisine, you will easily get it because many of the hotels have chefs who are of Indian origin, and they are kind people. They are kind people. So really coming to sit here with you was from that background.
So I was right.
That yes, I have a presence of Indians even within my community, in my constituency. I have them. Some of them are from Gujarati, and they are fine people.
Yes.
Very, very sincere, very true, very ethical in whatever they do. And so when I looked at Avani's background, I knew I was dealing with someone of values, someone who is ethically correct to deal with. And so that is what the Indian community has displayed in the Ugandan population. The past is a regrettable one, but I think the past is being amended.
Yes.
That is why they are finding it comfortable, and Uganda will forever be a home to the Indian community in Uganda.
Thank you.
I always love their celebrations. Wow, wow, wow. The
Which
unity.
one is your favorite? Do you go for Diwali or Holi?
Diwali, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. But Winnie, I had another reason of having you on this podcast, Her Path to Power. I have always felt that women have similar challenges
Yeah.
around the world. And I hope that people who are listening to you can relate that it's not just in India, but that women who are trying to get into politics, into positions of power, have inspirational stories, not just in India, but
Yeah.
around the world. Looking at you, they could know that you could come from a background with absolutely nobody could imagine
Yeah.
that somebody could be at the topmost political position in your country, and yet here we are. So thank you so much. I want to do a quick rapid fire round.
Yes.
And what that means is I'll just ask quick questions and give you choices, and you have to respond without thinking too much. So short answers and quick answers. Are you ready for a rapid fire?
Yes, please.
Okay, so chai or coffee?
Chai.
Okay, a Bollywood movie or a Hollywood blockbuster?
Bollywood.
Which is your favorite Bollywood movie?
Ganga.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite Bollywood actor?
That small girl Ganga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any favorite song that you hymn when you're back from like the day's tiring work? Is there a song that you
My upbringing made me love
Do you wanna- do you wanna sing a line or
Dolly
two?
Parton's song of Coat of Many Colors.
Do you want to sing a line or two for us?
That coat of many colors my mama made for me, because it reminds me of my past and I love it. So every time I think about my past, I sing that song and it reminds me of the challenges that we went through. And I know that many more young people are going through the same challenges and they need a shoulder to lean on. So it keeps me under check. Yes.
One moment that broke you down, that felt that, I couldn't carry on in politics or in life. Was there a moment like that?
I think it is of recent.
Mm-hmm.
When I was leader of opposition and the woman member of parliament for Kasese district, and government decided to attack the palace of my king. Many people were killed. And everybody looked on to me for leadership. It was heavy on my shoulders, but the way I navigated through was also something that tested my leadership capability. I think two things. Then in parliament, when we were working towards, government had come up with changing the constitution to amend the only remaining safety valve
Okay.
of that would enable us to have a transfer of power from one leader to another without necessarily shedding blood, because we had term limits that were amended in 2005. Then we are remaining with the age limit. That was a tough time for me as a leader. The president wanted it because it was edging him out of politics. And now the population didn't want it. So every eyes and every hope was on the leadership of the opposition in parliament. It was a tough time for us in the opposition. It was a tough time for us as a country. But we navigated through it. The choices we made, at least the Ugandans still believe we tried our best. To the extent that even 27 members of the ruling government came to our side because of how we handled the matter, how we convinced them. It was a tough time. But we remained on course. We navigated it and we tried our best. Though it passed because of the numbers and the intimidation, to the extent that they had to bring the military into parliament, that is when we all knew that our systems of governance had been captured. Because never at any time, apart from the 1966 cohesion, parliament had never been attacked. So that was the time parliament was being attacked, and everybody saw that democracy was at its worst. And I was the leader of the opposition then. But I thank God we navigated through. But that was one of the trying moments of my life as a politician and as a leader. Both occurrences happened when I was leader of the opposition. One happened in 2016, the other happened in 2017. So it was a tough time.
So for a young girl who's watching this and thinks that, or is being told that politics is dirty, or that you won't be able to manage family with politics, what do you say to them?
To the young girls who are watching this, politics is not dirty. It's only the actors that come with their dirty ways. So we are trying to build a critical mass that will sanitize politics. A mass of values-based and transformative leaders. Those that will put a difference to the way politics is being managed. Those that will ensure that when they are given leadership, it is for serving their people. Young girls, take up leadership. I know it is challenging, but let not your background deter you from pursuing your dream. My background would have possibly let me decide not to participate in leadership, and I know that I'm destined for failure. But that resilience, that courage, that risk-taking attitude enabled me to get to where I am, though I'm not yet where I want to be and where I would want to see many women get. Pick up yourself, no matter how many times you fall, but the times that we shall count are the times you will rise up every time you fall. Young girls up there, take up leadership. It is more crucial than ever before to have you in the spaces of leadership to transform the communities that you come from. It is entirely up to you. The change that you require begins with you. So let us rise up to the occasion and cause the necessary changes. It's our time.
That is so, so well put. You know, I remember my MPhil supervisor at Oxford said, it's not about how often you fall,
Yeah,
but how quickly you get
you
back
get back.
when you fall.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Super.
So
Yes.
we will all fall and we have all
Yes,
fallen.
we all fall.
So, but to get back
Is the most important thing.
and to get back quickly
Yes,
is the most
the
important.
most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the one vision that you want to come? You want that this vision should come true. What's your biggest, boldest vision for the world, for humanity, for Uganda, for women? What's the one thing that you would want should happen while you're alive?
The one thing that I should see happening is the gender parity. If all women all over the globe can participate in leadership, and leadership of women becoming a norm, not cosmetic, but that we are at equal footing, I will rest in peace. But I also know that we have challenges of social cultures that put us back. Then possibly I would want to see women holding each other to enable them network with the sisters across the globe. That there can be these exchange visits of other sisters from possibly India to Uganda, from Uganda to India, maybe to even other areas, Bangladesh, or where. I just want to see women networking and having a network that supports them.
Yes.
We are being battered from our own selves, and each one of us believes that maybe it is about me, it is about my community, but it is happening globally. So when we expose women to other cultures, to other traditions, and they understand that there is an agency for them to continue advocating for justice and fairness, equality will surely happen. And this can only happen if women are in positions of leadership. But it also means that we have to prepare them. Prepare them for leadership, prepare them for causing these changes. And we should ensure that we work hand in hand with the men, because they are the ones that are now keeping the gates, the gatekeepers to culture. And if we are to have women emerge as leaders, we need the gatekeepers of culture to understand that it is crucial, it is important, it is equally for their own benefit.
Yes.
So gender parity is the issue that I am passionate about. And so Indian government, please ensure that the law serves the purpose for which it was made.
Yes.
And for the sisters, let us build this momentum that creates exchange programs for each other.
In fact, I just want to hold hands with your permission.
Yes.
And on this podcast, let's just promise each other and promise everybody who's watching that we will together build, a network of sisters, and to begin with an exchange program where you will come with a group of women to India and then we will come with a group of women to Uganda. Can we do that?
It is a promise I'm making on this podcast.
Yes.
That I am going to put together a group of women passionate about leadership,
Yes.
passionate about social justice and good governance, passionate about advancing the rights of women, the rights to equal access to opportunities,
Yes.
and possibly bring them to India.
Yes, yes.
Possibly. Then I promise to host that team
Yes.
that will be coming from India.
Excellent.
Thank
This
you.
is so good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Avani.
Thank you. I hope that people who are watching this could feel the goosebumps that I'm feeling, that this wasn't another podcast. This was a conversation which has left me inspired
Thank you
and
so much.
almost teary-eyed. And this is the objective of Her Path to Power, to bring these conversations which rarely happen, to show that we are a global family, that we might feel that we are frogs in the well, where our challenges are what that matters, but that there is a bigger world out there, and that all our challenges are the same. The African concept, Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Right?
Yeah.
That I am because we are.
Because we are.
So,
And then when you come here to South Africa, they will tell you, Sawubona.
mhm.
I see you. I feel your pain. I feel you. Sawubona.
Sawubona.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Can you tell our audience to like and subscribe to Her Path to Power?
I request those who are watching us right now to subscribe to Her Path to Power. It's crucial and it's important. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Welcome.
Her Path to Power.